From Jakks Pacific and their Sonic the Hedgehog line, this is the Heavy King, one of the bosses from Sonic Mania, and honestly one of my favorite designs that has come out of that game. I liked all of the hard-boiled heavies, but Heavy King, he was pulling a lot, you gotta admit. The box is very nice, very bright blue. This is how the Sonic line differentiates between their modern line and their classic line, is modern's dark blue, classic is light blue. And then on the back, you can see we have some articulation points. You can see there were other figures in this wave, including Sonic, a classic Knuckles, and Metal Sonic 3.0. And his description is, the leader of the hard-boiled heavies, Heavy King walks tall and carries a big scepter. It really sounds like they were trying to do like a Teddy Roosevelt thing there, but they kind of missed the mark. In any case, we got 13 points of articulation. We have a cool looking figure. Let's have a look-see. Getting the hard-boiled heavy out of the box, and I gotta admit, this is actually really nice. I really like the Jakks Sonic line, don't get me wrong, but usually they're not all that well articulated. The Heavy King here, he actually has some good points. Not a lot of points, but the points he has, they make the most out of. So, let's just have a look at this guy. The first thing I'll say is the paint scheme is just great. The gunmetal silvers, the blacks, the reds, they all work really well. And then, of course, you have bits of gold plastic. I've been looking at it, there are some slight swirls, so there might be some gold plastic syndrome here. For anyone who doesn't know, gold plastic syndrome, that's gold plastic that literally will just make itself fall apart after some time. I'm really hoping that that's not what this is. Jakks has used gold plastic before, so fingers crossed, I guess. Looking at the figure, you have a good head swivel, you have a universal for the shoulder, you have a universal for the elbow, you have a swivel for the wrist, you have a universal for the hip, you have a good knee that goes both forward and backward, both directions. It goes 45 degrees, though the cape does get a little bit in the way. And then you have a swivel down here at the ankle. So that doesn't sound like much, but if you get a little bit creative, right? You can get him into some goofier poses or some more challenged poses, some more intimidating poses. I say intimidating while I'm trying to pose him to look like he's falling down the steps. Here we go. Can I get him to balance like that? Ooh, can I get him to balance like that? Yes, I got him to I got him to balance like that. There we go. That's what happened when Sonic spin dashed into him. In terms of accessories, he of course comes with his scepter, and it is great. Nice and bulky, multiple colors. I love the big acrylic orb here at the end. And he can actually hold it in both hands, which I was not expecting him to be able to do. So, overall, just in a vacuum, this is one of the better Sonic figures I've ever seen from Jakks. And Jakks has been making almost nothing but good Sonic figures. But now I'm curious, how does he look with other classic characters? Here he is with the 5-inch classic Egg Robo and Mecha Sonic. Keep in mind this is Mecha Sonic, not Metal Sonic. Unfortunately, I don't have the 5-inch classic Dr. Eggman, so that would have been the ideal comparison. But still, you can see that with some of the other 5-inch classic villains, he looks really, really good. A thing a lot of people do, however, is they'll combine the bigger characters from the 5-inch line, so like your Vectors, your hard-boiled heavies, your Eggman, and instead of collecting a character like Sonic or Shadow in the 5-inch line, they collect them in the 2-inch line, so the figures scale better. So let's look at that. Here he is with Metal Sonic and Normal Sonic with the Chili Dog, classic 2-inch line. This scaling looks a lot better in terms of the games. I do prefer the figures in the 5-inch line just because they usually have more articulation and better paint, but this still works really, really well, and I actually kind of prefer this. That said, how does he look alongside a 5-inch classic animal character, getting away from things like the robots? For some reason, the only good guy I have who's both classic and 5 inches is Ray the Flying Squirrel. This doesn't look bad, but I do think Ray's too big. And to be fair, most of the classic characters who aren't the bad guys are too big. The hard-boiled heavies and the classic Eggman and Mecha Sonic, they all look fine. But the modern Sonic, the classic Sonic 5-inch, or the classic Knuckles, classic Ray or Mighty, they're always just a bit too big for what they should be. But even still, I think this does look nice. I have long maintained that Mecha Sonic is my favorite figure that Jakks has put out for Sonic the Hedgehog. Even though I think Mecha Sonic is still my favorite, this is the first time where I've ever done or opened a new Sonic figure and thought this might be my new favorite. The Heavy King is spectacular. He has wonderful articulation, he looks great, he's a really cool villain character to have alongside your good guys. He has a presence and an aura about him. Whereas, as much as I love Mecha Sonic, he doesn't look like the big bad evil guy. At the end of the day, he's always just going to look like a drone. But Heavy King? If you don't have an Eggman or don't want an Eggman, and you just want a big, burly-looking robot villain, this is excellent. It pairs well with every Sonic figure you have from Jakks, and I think at the end of the day, this is one of the best figures they've ever put out. So, there we go. I don't know how much more I could recommend this figure, aside from the 6 minutes I've now spent just absolutely gushing over it.